I first noticed the camera in the corner of the living room wasn't blinking like it should. It was just there, silently watching, even though I hadn't turned on any of the security features yet. My stomach knotted as I realized the smart home I was house-sitting in a remote suburb was already reacting to me before I even interacted with it. Sent by Marcus T., Cedar Falls, Iowa. The house was supposed to be empty for a week while the owners were on vacation. At first, the idea of a modern smart home with everything automated was exciting. The lights adjusted with my movement, the thermostat seemed to know when I got cold, and the front door locked automatically. But last night, as I scrolled through the app controlling the house, I noticed one unusual event. The thermostat had dropped to 48 degrees Fahrenheit, even though I hadn't touched it. I shrugged it off as a glitch and went to bed. Around 2:13 a.m., a soft, irregular clinking sound woke me. It wasn't consistent, more like a sequence of metal balls rolling in unpredictable patterns. My first instinct was that a window had rattled, but every window was locked. Every door was secure. I grabbed my phone and walked to the living room. The clinking had stopped. That's when I saw the first impossible detail. The coffee table was no longer where I remembered putting it. I didn't drink coffee. I didn't even touch that table. Yet somehow, it had shifted a full foot closer to the sliding glass door. And the camera in the corner, its tiny lens had turned toward me, even though the app said all cameras were stationary. Rule 1 of this presence: it mimics human behavior, but only when it knows it's being observed. Restriction: it cannot move objects outside of your field of perception. Signature behavior: clinking, like glass or metal being tapped softly, always before escalation. Escalation pattern: first subtle movement, then manipulation of objects you are forced to notice, followed by direct attention. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was the wind, maybe it was me being paranoid. But then my phone buzzed. I don't usually get texts at 3 a.m., and this number wasn't saved in my contacts. The message read, "You shouldn't be here, but I see you, always." Panic clawed at me. I checked every exit. All doors and windows were locked automatically. My phone battery was dropping at an alarming rate. The house had trapped me without warning. Technological failure. Their smart system wasn't a convenience. It was a cage. I decided to leave anyway. As I approached the front door, it clicked closed behind me. Not locked. Closed. The clinking started again, this time from the kitchen. I sprinted back, my hands trembling as I grabbed a heavy lamp. The metal balls, I realized, they were not on the floor. They were rolling across the countertops, moving in intricate, impossible sequences, tapping against glasses, knives, and bowls, creating a percussive language of threat I couldn't yet decipher. I shouted, "Who's there?" The house answered by dimming the lights. The shadows didn't just stretch, they twisted into forms that resembled me, but wrong. Too long, too short, too jerky. The uncanny angles made my skin crawl. But the thing wasn't a shadow. It was something that had learned my movements and mirrored them incorrectly. I ran upstairs, my lamp held high. Every floorboard I stepped on was met with a delayed thud, as if the house was lagging behind reality. My heart pounded. I was hyper-aware of every small noise. Clinking again, closer, moving through the living room below me. I tried calling 911, no signal. Technological failure complete. From my room I could hear it manipulating objects, tapping dishes, nudging drawers, dragging chairs, always creating that same rhythmic sequence. My fear became hyper-focused on sound. I realized I could predict its next moves by listening to the patterns. 2 taps, pause, 1 roll, then a double scrape. I began trying to anticipate its escalation, moving erratically to throw it off. But the house had learned my patterns too. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time felt fractured. I hid in the master bathroom, watching the hallway with the cracked mirror reflecting dim LED strips from the ceiling. I could see the forms moving below, every line slightly wrong. The metallic clinking shifted into a pattern that sounded almost like words. My own name. Marcus. Marcus. At that moment I whispered to myself, trying to stay sane. If you're enjoying these true horror stories, make sure to subscribe to Ultra Spooky and hit that notification bell so you never miss when we upload new nightmares. The mirror cracked. not shattered, just long spiderwebbing fractures, perfectly along the lines of my reflection. Each shard reflected a version of me that wasn't me, eyes too wide, mouth slightly twisted, and from behind the door, a low, dragging sound. I inched closer, holding my breath. The lamp I had brought upstairs was gone. My hand reached the floor, and there it was, one tiny metallic ball, rolling in place as if waiting for me. I gathered courage and ran down the stairs. The living room was empty, the coffee table back in its place, the cameras all blinking normally. The phone had signal again, but then I noticed the lights, soft LEDs along the walls, flickered one by one, like digits counting. And then the clinking returned, now faster, urgent, from inside my own pocket. I pulled out my phone. One new message. "You can't leave. We know where you are." I ran outside, the cold November air biting at my skin. The street was empty, distant lights of neighboring houses flickering. The house loomed behind me. I noticed the front door slightly ajar, though I hadn't touched it since the lock failure. I didn't stop running until I was back in my car, fumbling for the ignition, but when I looked at the rearview mirror, I saw the metallic balls rolling on the front porch, forming lines, shapes, and faces. I never stayed in another smart house after that. Every automated lock, every motion sensor, every reflective surface became a potential threat in my mind. I never understood why it mimicked me, why it couldn't leave objects unnoticed, or why the sound of clinking would make my chest seize. But the thing followed me in memory, in fear, in quiet moments when I heard distant tapping in empty rooms. I drove away, the house receding in the distance, lights blinking in a rhythm I couldn't unhear. Weeks later, I received another message from the same unknown number. It was just a single emoji, a tiny metallic ball. My hands shook, my stomach tightened. I realized I hadn't left it behind. I had carried it with me in some way I could never perceive. Even now, when I pass smart homes or hear faint metallic clinking in the distance, I think of that night. I think of the faces in the reflection. I think of the rules it followed, the restrictions it honored, and the escalation it promised. And sometimes, when no one else is around, I swear I hear it counting. The last message I got 2 nights ago simply read, "Next time you won't see the light at all." The metallic ball sits on my desk now, silently rolling, never leaving my sight. Every time I blink, I feel it watching, calculating, waiting. I have no way to destroy it. I have no way to leave it. And the worst part, I know it's learning. This was just one of many terrifying true stories from the ultra-spooky archives. Stay tuned for our next tale of horror.